my first video on camera. Ooh, and I'm looking a little, not bad, you know? I'm making this video because we've had some revelating news, if that's even a word. Some crazy news happened this past few weeks. If you guys aren't aware, Sonic Unleashed, the Xbox 360 version, has been recently ported natively to PC. Unofficially, of course. And it's crazy. It's crazy. The fact that you can run a game that powerful for a console on PC flawlessly now, basically on anything, is still wild to me that even happens, you know? I have a Steam Deck, right? I have a Steam Deck right here. And I love playing games on this bad boy. I actually beat Persona 4 on this thing completely. And one thing I wanted to play in this specifically was Sonic Unleashed, but I didn't want to play the Wii version or the PS3 version, or the PS2 version, excuse me, because those versions were a little worse, and just naturally that's how it is, because those games are just made for weaker consoles. They're just weaker consoles. So I've always wanted to play the Xbox 360 version. I looked into getting the Xenia emulator, but there's a lot of hacks and things that you need to set up and stuff, and I don't even know if I was going to get the best experience. So I held off for it. I was probably going to end up figuring out a way to do it one day, but when I saw the news of the Sonic Unleashed Recompiled Project, it got me thinking, oh my gosh, yes, this is amazing. This is fantastic. We got a Sonic Unleashed port on PC. I could just, as long as I have the ROM with me, set it up on my Steam, I could play it natively with no flaws at all. It's crazy. But what got me thinking was, if I was somebody that was making recomps for games, what games would I want to see, you know? What games would I want to like to play? You feel me? Because trust me, during that 2008 to 2012 time period, it was a time period where game companies were really focusing on making games strictly for the Xbox 360 and PS3. Not even the Wii was getting that many ports. It was mainly those two consoles, and then sometimes they'll throw a DS port, a Wii port, a PS2 port, a PSP port, and then maybe a PC port here and there. So during that time period, there was a lot of games that weren't ported to PC, and there's just no way for us to play them. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you guys 10 games that myself, that guy Brian specifically, would love to see get ported to PC with the power of recomps, because these games are most likely never gonna get an official port. So I'd love to see these games get ported to PC with recomps. These are 10 games that I wanna see. Now, I know this version of Sonic Unleashed is Xbox 360 only, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna just include any game that's just stuck on a certain console. So it doesn't matter what console it is, it's not strictly to Xbox. So, here we go. So the first game on the list in no particular order is Blink's the Time Sweeper. It's an action platformer with a lot of cool mechanics, like the ability to rewind, fast forward, pause, and slow down. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the game. And it only released on the OG Xbox. And I would love a recomp of this game. I do think it was released, or it is backwards compatible with the Xbox 360 and Xbox One. I'm not too sure with the Xbox Series, but the game itself has only been released on the original Xbox. It's never been re-released after. And, you know, Xbox emulation on my Steam Deck and my computer isn't too stable compared to the PS2 and GameCube. So I would love for it to be re-released, you know, as a recomp. 60 FPS would go crazy in this game, and also updated graphics. This game reminds me a little bit of like the Jak and Daxter game, and that game had a recomp come out last year, a few years ago. So I hope it'll get the same treatment. Tekken 6 is slowly becoming one of the more underrated games in the franchise, and one of the more underrated fighting games just around. It's crazy how no one really talks about this game anymore, and I know it came out like 20 years ago almost, but still, a lot of people talk about Tekken 3. Obviously, it's a very popular game. A lot of people talk about Tekken 5, even Tekken 4 gets more mentioning than Tekken 6. I briefly played Tekken 6, and it was very fun. I had Tekken 5 prior to playing it. I never fully owned the game, but I enjoyed it when I played it with my friends. There is a PSP version for Tekken 6 that's more in line with the Tekken 5 gameplay, but the modding scene, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's insane for that game. They're adding things I could never even think about adding to a PSP game. It's wild. One of the main things I liked about Tekken 6 when I played it briefly was the customization. You know, Tekken 8 is really good as well, but in Tekken 6, it was one of the more underrated concepts of the game. And I really love to see that on PC. And this was also the first game to introduce the rage system that we all know and love. So, you know, pioneer to a lot of the things that we enjoy about Tekken 8 and Tekken 7. I would love to see this get recomped. So Mortal Kombat vs. DC, I know a lot of people don't like this game. It was janky when it released. The story mode is kind of meh. Me personally, I never played it, but when I was younger, I used to watch the videos of people playing Mortal Kombat vs. DC, so I've seen the whole storyline. I'm not really too sure what happens right now, because this was like when I was 9. The concept of having DC niggas going up against Mortal Kombat niggas was just fantastic for me. I was a sucker for crossovers, and I've loved to play the story mode for myself just to see how it was. So that's one of the reasons why, or the main reason why I want to see this game get recomped and ported to PC, because it's only stuck on PS3 and Xbox 360. I really couldn't decide between the two, so I'm putting both of them in here, and they both need a recomp. But if I had to choose one or the other, it will definitely be more Burst Limit, because I never played it. Burst Limit, if I remember correctly, it was like one of the new first gen, 7th gen Dragon Ball Z games to release on the Xbox 360. The graphics and gameplay updated from Shin Budokai, the original Budokai gameplay, and it's aged so well. I've seen countless videos of it in 4K and everything, and it looks so good. Same with Raging Blast. You know, Raging Blast 2 did have a questionable story mode, but the gameplay's still great, and as of right now, it's the only game that I know that has Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. And I would love a recon for this game, specifically Burst Limit though. I just love to play the story mode again. I just love to see how the graphics look like, you know, at higher resolutions, and you know, it's aged so well. It looks so good too. Definitely one of the underrated Dragon Ball Z games around, man. It looks so good. PlayStation All-Stars was low-key a game ahead of its time. It was a Smash-like clone with Sony's most iconic game characters and some guest appearances as well. It had its flaws, you know, some people didn't like how it felt kind of stiff, but me personally, when I had the game, I remember having a lot of fun playing it. I can only imagine the benefits of a recomp, what it can do to this game, especially the modding scene. Can you imagine the gameplay tweaks, the new characters and stages, the alternate costume, the story mode elements? It could be like Project M, but for PlayStation. It's crazy, it's limitless. I know it's a crazy idea to put sport games in this, considering a lot of them just don't age well, but something about this game specifically inclines me to put it on this list for a recon. I think it's mainly due to the aesthetic and the vibes of this World Cup specifically, the vuvuzelas, the fact that this is the first and only World Cup in Africa, hosted in Africa. I've never had the pleasure of playing this game, and I've always wanted to, and with the possibilities of PC modding, this game could be fantastic. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not really much of a golf guy. If you told me that there was a PGA Tour final going on right now, I'd much rather do anything else. But one game that I really did like, even though I never actually owned the game, I only played the demo, was Hot Shots Golf Out of Bounds. Honestly, the reason why I like this game so much, demo as well, is because of how cozy and charming the game was. It was just golf. It was nothing special. It wasn't anything crazy, but the graphics were nice. The music was charming. Something about the Hot Shots or Everybody's Golf, or Everybody's Tennis series. This series specifically makes these sports games so much more than what it is, even if they don't really do anything too crazy with them. I remember playing Hot Shots Tennis Get a Grip for the PSP, and just spending hours playing that game. Hot Shots Golf Out of Bounds, I always wanted to play it again. I never got the ability to play it because it only released on PS3, and I want to play it again on PC. Also, that game has Kratos and that one cat from PlayStation All-Stars. I don't remember his name, but they're both in the game. It's crazy. Dead or Alive 4 is one of the few Dead or Alive games my brother actually owned, which means I played it quite a few times, and the game was a lot of fun. It was, honestly. I remember it being a lot of fun, and I just love how realistic the fighting is in that game. The way they move, the way they fall and stuff. I remember there was one stadium where like you'd be fighting in the middle of the highway and the cars would come in and hit you and then you fly to the sky. I'm like, that shit was crazy to me when I was like 10. I think the online lobbies still work to this day. So if you have the game on Xbox 360 and you want to play online, I think they still work, which is wild. I love to get to see this game get recomped. I think the online will be crazy too. I think it's aged really well as well. And doing research in a lot of the Street Fighter videos I've uploaded recently, I've learned that Asura is quite a piece to the Street Fighter lore. And I've just recently learned about this game, and I would love to play it. But most of the other games in this list, there's no way I can play this unless I have an Xbox 360 or a PS3. Which I have neither. I had a PS3, but I sold it like 10 years ago. The game is damn near impossible to find, you know. I saw the disc online, the PS3 disc is going for like $70. It's crazy. Gameplay wise, it looks really fun. It looks like an in-depth story with a lot of different gameplay elements. And it reminds me of like a God of War with Street Fighter 4 graphics, you know. Very cool. I think it's safe to say that everyone wants this game to be ported to PC. Probably one of the most popular delisted games of all time. I feel like everyone has played the first Fable, but Fable 2 is just stuck on the 360 and people experienced it when they first dropped it, but now they can't play it. I mean, yeah, we can play it through the cloud, but who wants to stream games? Like, who wants to do that? I started playing Fable a few months ago on the Steam Deck and it's really fun, and once I beat it, I'm gonna be upset that there's not a sequel for me to play on my Steam Deck, unless I emulate it, which is not gonna run properly. So I really hope that the devs or anyone that works on recomps takes a look at this game. And I know decomps and recomps are not easy. This is not me trying to say that these people, you know, should just do it because I want them to do it, but it would just be nice if I had the talent and time to make recomps and decomps and the understanding as well, then, you know, these would be the games that I would choose, you know? And that's it, y'all. That's my list. Can you imagine? Can you believe that Sega decided not to release Sonic Unleashed, not to remake it at all? A fan favorite, a game that everybody loves, it seems. So the fans decided to do it for themselves, and now it's just opened a gateway for more ambitious fans of other games to decomp and recomp other fan favorites. We're gonna see a shift in the gaming scene very soon. I'm excited to see what happens with this. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on my list, and let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see as well. If you guys don't know, I'm that guy Bry, trying to make content like this all the time. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and like I said before, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts and any games that you want to see recomped and decomped and recomped again. Alright, love y'all. Peace.